Blog Talk Radio.
All praises to our Elohim of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. All praises. Tonight we got special guests that I asked to come on and discuss things tonight, and he obliged, and he's here, and we're going to give a shout out to Brother Sly. Brother Sly, you there?
Yes, sir, I'm here. Shalom, Brother Muriel. How you doing today, man?
Well, very well. It's good to hear your voice. Good to see. See you, but good to be in chat with you. It's good. This week. So again, my lessons and shows are Wednesday to Wednesday. Gives me time to see the things and eat on the edification of the things that are going on in the world. And a lot of it is still madness, as it has been, and it's getting faster. It is picking up pace as we speak. Last week went by so fast that it's a blur to me. And now here we are going into the middle part of what they call July. So, tonight we're going to discuss some things about justice, because this world is, when we look at TikToks, when we look at social media, when we look at the papers, if we read the papers and look at the news on TV or online or whatever, television, what have you, what we see is a lot of people trying to tell us who we are, what we should think, what we need, and what we want. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that they still think they have the authority over us. And they do for some. Some still gives them the authority over them. But some of us no longer give them the authority over us, over ourselves, over our beings, over our spirits. And, the world is sitting here thinking that we want equality, that we want freedom, when what we want is justice. And why is that? Because, like Brother Judah was speaking of today, Sister Pat last night, and others, especially when it comes to history, his/hyphen story, they think that we don't have the aptitude or the elevation or the wherewithal to be able to think for ourselves. So that fella that Brother Judah was talking about, that Brother William sent to him today, the guy is trying to make it seem like we are less than. He wants the world to believe that there is no way that we can think for ourselves when it comes to who we are. And to me, it's odd, because if they are the people of let's say the Native Americans, as they claim, you would think that they would be angered about the white man. You would think that they would be ready to tell us to come with them, or we want to be with you because they did this to our people too. But they don't do that. They're too busy trying to tell us, again, who we are, what we want, and how to think. So they're lock in step with the Gentiles. So this is how you know who's who and what's what here at the end. So, justice is what we seek, brother. And I sit here and I try to give people the benefit of the doubt. I try to make it seem like, well, we all can get into this. We all can get better. We all can do better. We all should do better. But the more that I recognize the people who come against us, the more I realize that they just can't get right. Like they literally just can't get right. And they're not for us. They're not for our turn. You know, what's your thoughts on that, brother?
Well, I'm thinking about everything that you just said. And one thing that we do desire is justice. Because we've tried marching, we've tried protesting, we've tried sitting, and we're still in the same situation. So honestly, the only thing we could really do is depend on the Most High.
That's right.
And depend on the prophecies and hope and pray that everything will change, because we can see the shift. That's why these other nations are terrified.
Yes.
Because they can see the shift. Like several decades ago, if a police officer shot one of us down, it was 100% chance they were not going to prison. But now they're rolling the dice. It's like, if I pull this trigger and kill this Israelite man or woman, I may actually get locked up. So we can see the shift occurring.
Yes.
We can see their nation falling, their currency is collapsing, their businesses are closing down. Like, you have to be naive to think that this place will continue on forever. All nations fall. But America's had its run, and America was built on wickedness. So it has to fall. Yeah.
Yeah. America built on sand, you know, and yes, the exchange situation is upon them. And this is what they're having great consternation about. They want, and this is why, you know, to Judah's point, the big Judah's point, they are conning us. This is the biggest grift that's ever been, ever. Like even the beginning of Rome, the grift now against us, this money laundering, this con against us is at an all-time high. And what goes up has to come down. And, you know, when we think about what we want, and then we look at, let's say, other brothers and sisters who aren't where we are, who are not elevated to where we are, when we take a look at their thought process, let's use the Democrats. They say, well, you know, the Democrats, you know, we can't have Trump in there because Trump is a racist and this, that, and the third. And it's like, I get that. I get that this man is a racist, but he's a covert racist. Biden and them are overt racists, and they are also even more egregious from my point of view because they want and they allow immorality of sexual acts. Like, it's okay, and I'm not even tripping on that per se, but when you allow that, and then you have covert racism along with it, systemic racism with it. I mean, why should I roll the dice for that? You know, why should I want to be put in that situation? So when it comes to people like us who are trying to seek justice for our people, not equality, not freedom, but justice, it sours the mouths of the people who are not like us, but are us, our people who are non-Israelite, just they're okay with being black or African American, whatever. You know, they're okay with that. They're okay with the Democratic Party. They're okay with the two-party system. They want a better. They want hope. They want to be able to. They want to be able to have their nieces, nephews, daughters, and sons grow up in a different, you know, in a decent world where they can go to work and earn a living and pay debts and be in debt. That's what they're okay with. Well, me, I don't want none of that. I want complete overhaul of the system. And then they will say to me, well, that's you're talking about a utopia. Well, it's not a utopia of colorism, if you will, but more a utopia of righteousness, a utopia of, hey, can we get a situation where we can be doing the right thing constantly, not having to look over our shoulder for some con artist who wants to lie, cheat, and steal. And if that means get rid of all the Gentiles, so be it. If that means get rid of all the Negroes that are not part of the new beginnings, the elevation, so be it. If that means everybody's got to go, so be it. Let's start fresh. But that's the deal. The justice is becoming very evident. The exchange of situation is very prominent. And a lot of people are struggling because we're standing up saying it. And we're not batting an eye when they come at us sideways, talking madness. We're saying, hey, the same energy that you bring with the madness that you're bringing to us, we can bring it too. And we'll bring it in a righteous way, in an articulate, righteous way to cut you. Because we don't need a gun. We don't need a knife. We're not in this as a war because our Father's going to fight that for us. You know what I mean? Like, does that make sense?
Yes, sir. It does. It does. It does, because the Most High has put the Spirit on His people to wake them up. And right now, you're seeing a group of people who were given their nationality, or you're black, you're colored, you're niggers, you're whatever they can throw at us. But now we're claiming our identity.
Right.
We're saying, no, Israelites, that's who we are. Well, y'all just saying that because you're trying to claim an identity that's not yours. No, we're bringing receipts.
Right.
We're bringing scripture. We're bringing prophecy. We're bringing historical texts. And it's a bombardment. So people can look at us, it's just me and you talking about this situation. But they are being bombarded by millions of people doing the exact same that we are.
That's right.
Now, we're doing what the Spirit says. We're standing up in great boldness, and they really don't know how to respond.
Right. And that's a great point. Go ahead. Finish that thought, brother. Go ahead.
Like I was saying, they could slay us. It still doesn't stop what the Most High is doing. And the more they take one of us out, the only thing they're doing is they're fulfilling prophecy. They're basically fulfilling Ezekiel 35:5 with the sword, because they know we're at the time while calamity in our iniquity. I'm roughly paraphrasing for the Bible scholars. Is at end. And they are terrified because 2019 was that shift. If you can't see that the world's not the same since 2019, you have your head in the sand. You're in denial.
You're blind. You're blind, right? Because when the fullness comes into when the Gentiles' fullness comes in, Israel no longer is blind. That blindness goes to the Gentile. So what's happened now, and that's also Thomas Jefferson's "I tremble for my country," the exchange of situation. Things will happen by supernatural means, and that's what's happened. This whole awakening. That's why they have this conniption, if you will, of who we are, trying to continue to try to be Lord over us in this authoritative manner. It's funny because they'll do that on TikToks, they'll do it on Instagram, they'll get out there and they'll do it on social media, but they won't do that, to our face. They won't come and question us out and out. Like, I'm sure they all go to work and they work around us, right? So I'm sure that they don't go to work and start telling the black people that they know that, hey, you know, Blackie, that you are not Indian. If you thought you were Indian, I want you to know you're not Indian. They're not doing that. They're getting behind a camera in their home or wherever they choose, feeling like they know something and telling us who we are. And it's not just the fake pretendians. It's also the Edomites. And it's also the Ishmaelites. And it's also the Ishites, right? Everybody, everybody is trying to tell us who we are. Like, isn't that odd? Like that would be like me going to my neighbor and just saying, hey, you're blue. I don't care what you say. In my opinion, you're blue, period. And he's going, what are you talking about? It doesn't matter what I'm talking about. You just are trying to act like you're somebody else, but I'm telling you're blue. It's madness. It's straight up madness for anybody. Like we're saying what we're saying with, as you said, receipts, with all types of information that people can take, look at, and do their own due diligence with. These people are coming saying, this is just what I feel. This is, this is what I was told, or this is what the white man said, and it's like if we already, for us at least, we already know that they lie. They have not told the truth about anything. So then why would we cherry pick anything that they say as truth? Does that make sense?
Exactly. Because they lie. Public school system is full of lies.
Full of lies.
George Washington had teeth made out of wood. I'm a grown adult, and I found out that he was using teeth from his slaves.
Which is nasty in and of itself. You understand that? Like this is the filthiness of people who they worship. They worship filthy people. It makes me wonder who Paul really was, because what we know about Paul is that he was putting the wood to our people. He hated our people. He was a Herodian. Okay, he was a Benjamite Herodian, whatever that means. He was up from the lineage of Herod, and he gets this epiphany that now he's with us. Which, okay, that's fair, but what all did he do? And why is it that the Gentiles love him so? Like, these are the things that we have to put in perspective in order to realize that, they're doing this so that they don't get justice, so that we don't get justice and they don't have to give justice. This is the whole thing. This is where all the scriptures switch and all the truth switches from the natural, from the original truth, to the unnatural, from the non-original people or truthers, because they're not even, or liars, I should say, not even truthers, they're liars. And it's like, everybody wants to talk about Paul. Everybody wants to talk about the $5 Indians, but nobody wants to acknowledge who we are. It's like we're everywhere. We've been everywhere on this planet. Everywhere. Now, I get it. Not, it's like evil didn't just come to us. It came to them too. So some of them got destroyed as well. I get that. That's a destruction all over the earth. But my point to that is, under whose rule? See what I'm saying? Like, exactly. Okay, it all that has happened. Truth be known. But under whose rule has this occurred? If it was under our rule, then we would have been punished for it, which we were, right? We were punished, and that all got taken away from our rule. And maybe that's our blessing. Maybe that's the blessing in the skies for us, right? Maybe not maybe, but if that is the blessing in the skies for us. The Father said, okay, I'm going to make you under them to get your punishment out the way, and they're going to be over you, so when it's said and done, they take the lumps. You see what I'm saying? Like, that all praises right there. Like, I don't want no part of the justice that will be meted out to the rulers, those that rule, those that have ruled, and those that have cleaved to the rulers in this time. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Well, we do understand that some will cleave. Now, mm-hmm. I know you've heard of Brother Dana.
Yeah.
The so-called white man who's on YouTube. And Some people just won't listen to him because he's white. But I had to correct a few people in the live stream a few days ago. I said, Brother Dana has been in this truth longer than a lot of us in this chat. When a lot of us are walking around eating shrimp and pork. I mean, doing things that we shouldn't have been doing. And he's brought a lot of people in. You may not know who. Through the Holy Spirit, he's brought a lot of people in. So we will have Gentiles who will cleave. But that will be a small number.
So
that would be a very small.
Yeah, and I think Dana's story is he was in Chicago and he was working in the church and some brothers beat him up pretty bad, and he kind of like the cops came, I think something like that. The cops came and he didn't tell on them, and then he kind of got he started to study. And he wanted to understand why that happened and why these folks are like this. And then he was like, "Oh, wait a second. This kind of makes sense from a biblical perspective." And that's how I think, because I think one of his videos, he explains it's an older video of his, one of his, beginning videos before because he's in Atlanta now. He wasn't always in Atlanta, but, he's got a very good testimony. I mean, for a white brother, he's got a very good testimony. And there's plenty of them out there. That's what I'm saying. What they're trying to prop up, to Judah's point today, is they give these numbers to these people who stay with their status quo. And that's why many of them are going to be lost. And, they're going to be struggling because he said, our brother said, all nations will mourn, period. So I don't know why they keep thinking that they want him to come back so fast. For whatever reason, in their retardation of thought, they think that he's going to come and scoop him up in an Airbus and fly him out of here. For whatever reason, I don't understand that. But, he said that everybody's going to be mourning. And I take that and put it into the proper context, because I like to think that the Gentiles took a lot of stuff out, and that's why the scriptures are so incomplete to this day. But all the nations of all the nations of the world will mourn when upon his return, except for Israel, because he's coming back for Israel, so Israel will be the only nation not mourning. And if I take a look at that from where we are today, then that would make sense why everybody else is mourning. They're crying the blues, crying about, you guys think that you guys are us and this, they're crying the blues, and we're going, we're good, we're happy, we have shalom. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is our shalom. To be this bold, exactly. to know who we are,
Exactly. You made two great points. You made two great points. I don't want to really go there yet because I really can't remember them offhand, and I apologize. I should have been taking notes. I'll know better next time, my brother.
All good, man. All good. Our deal is that this is about our conversation amongst us about justice, because a lot of people don't want to understand what we want. That fellow who said he's Puerto Rican, that we were going back and forth with for a moment on TikTok. I asked him a straight, direct question, and he skirted the question. I said, "Do you know what we want?" Skirted the question. And I would dare say, if I asked that to anybody, a Christian, even some camp brethren, if I asked that across the board to many people, and I say, "Do you know what we want?" they would not answer it, because they don't want to know what we want. They want us to know what they want. And that's where the rubber's meeting the road right now. That's where a lot of false textuals where a lot of people are struggling with us on, because they want to tell us who we are, but we're saying, but wait, okay, do you know what we want? Do you know why we do what we do? Do you know what we want? And they don't want to touch that, because when it comes to justice, that's been the toughest thing. I mean, I said this last week. I mean, the Supreme Court just showed that they have no justice. They are unjust. The executive branch unjust, judicial unjust, executive unjust, and the legislator clearly always have been unjust. So if we start talking about justice, then that creates a ripple effect against their injustice or unjustness. And so now when we're saying, do you know what we want? You know, that's why this is, you know, the world thinks we want equality. They think that we want freedom. But what we want is justice. That's it. Like this could all be over tomorrow if you give us justice. You give us the justice that we want, not the justice that you want. We don't care about your paper money, right? We want justice. So.
But I know in this system, they will never give us true justice.
They can't.
Ever. They can't. There's so much blood on their hands. There's no way they can atone for so much slaughter. It's impossible.
Well, it is impossible, but there is, you know, atoning is just the beginning of repentance, right? So, you know, that atone is an action. The atoning is an action, and repenting is an action. So before they can even get to repenting to where we can accept any type of forgiveness for them, they have to atone. They got to put in work. They got to do something they have to know, they have to accept what we want. That's the whole thing is these are actions, and these people don't want to act on anything unless it's for them, for their benefit. That's the deal. So when we're saying we want justice, well, I can't do that. I didn't have nothing to do with that. I don't know what you're talking about. But yet if you know, they're screaming Palestine this, Palestine that, or ish this, ish that, they're like, well, we got to give them some money. We need to do this, or Japanese that, or Ukraine this. We got to give them some money. And it's like, well, okay, well, hello, what about us? Oh, we ain't got nothing to do with that. Okay, keep it. We don't want it now. And that was the whole thing. This whole thing was they kept dangling that carrot of false money in front of us by putting out these chicken head Negroes, these Stevens, you know, and Stephen and Stephanie's out there in front of us to dangle some cash at us, so that they can then turn around and say, "See, we can give you some money. We'll give you some money if you do it. We'll give you some money if you be quiet." That took our justice away. Now we're no longer with that. We're no longer with that. We want justice for just us. You know what I'm saying?
And then on top of that, we have Negro Gatekeepers.
Right.
Who do their best to block us from getting justice. I didn't tell you the other day, I think I was on TikTok, and I came across a video of the Divine Lite. But there was an entire thread of Negroes proud to be of the Divine Lite. The Negroes that put in certain spots to do math as well. Yep. They were proud. Men, women, you know, all head, no facial hair, you know, suit, Mercedes-Benz, I'm better than you, N-words type Negro.
Boulets.
The same Israelites that made covenants with the heathen. Those same spirits are back. So we still have to deal with them.
They never left, brother. They never went anywhere. They've always been here. It's just that we were blind and not in our time. And now, because it's our time, we get to see them, and that's what's scaring all of them. Scaring the Boule, scaring the Pretendians, scaring the Edomites, scaring Ish, scaring the whole world. And we haven't even done anything. Bro, we just stood up. We woke up, opened our eyes, rubbed our eyes, and stood up. And the whole world is in great fear, great consternation. Like they have anxiety over us. That's why they block us. That's why people are like, we don't know what to do about these people. They don't want equality. They don't want freedom. They want justice. What are we going to do about it? Well, we got to get Biden out of there. We got to get Kamala in there, and maybe we can get the Boule back on track to get some of these guys and girls back underneath them. And it's not working because we're saying because we don't even have to do that. The camps are putting the wood to the Divine Lite.
Exactly.
The camps
are just brothers.
They are just destroying them. It ain't even us. We are the remnant within the remnant, and that's also what their problem is, because they don't see they we are the hidden ones, and they can't find us because now certainly they can't find us because they're too blind to see us. That's why they're struggling with us. That's why they just say, you know what, let's just fix the algorithm to lessen their output. But it's not stopping them. It's not stopping this word, this truth. It's not stopping us wanting justice.
Yeah, it's not. This word has went out already.
Mm-hmm.
A few years ago, I was at a corner store, and a young brother walked up to me. He probably was like, I'd say 21. And this is when all the police shootings and everything was really going down. So we can feel that in our community. So we're talking about it. Like I said, this brother was young.
Mm-hmm.
And stood there and said, I think we go through all this, man, because we're the children of Israel and we disobeyed. And I looked at him, I said, bruh, that's who we are.
Mm-hmm.
People are waiting. And he's not the only one. I've ran into a bunch of people that will admit that they know who we are. And that's why they're scared.
That is.
Baruch 2 and 3. They had to take the Apocrypha, because the Apocrypha basically destroys Christianity. It basically destroys Christianity. Now, how do you claim to be the people of the book when prophecy said that you would forget yourselves, but then you proudly profess that you have handwritten? I've heard them say this, bro. They claim to have handwritten records all the way back to the time of Moshe, to Moses.
Right. It's crazy, dude. And we know they don't. And see, that's. Go ahead, bro.
Well, bro, I'm just saying the averages of it. Yeah, continue to speak, my brother.
I was just going to say that's their replacement theology. They thought that they could replace us forever, or at least for a time until they got themselves, out of the picture, until they expired, and they just left the rest for their descendants, But their supersessionism, their replacement theology says, they get to get all the blessings but not the curses, because that was just for Israel. So this is their demented mindset, because if the Christians get all the blessings, the church of Christian sanity gets all the blessings, and Israel gets all the cursing, well, they're in perpetual judgment and they're below us. So therefore we get to be them. And that's where they've had us for a long time, unjustly over us for a long time. Now that has changed, and now they're going, but wait, the church, and we're going, but who? What are you talking about? The church? Where's the church come into play? 401 AD. After, what is that? You guys got here late. You're late to the game. So why is it that you guys think that you guys get to supersede us? Why does Paul get to supersede the 12? Why does the popes get to supersede the Father? Like, what is this with you people? And then when we say, well, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, along with all of the angelic hosts, along with the aliens, along with all of the heavenly bodies, want justice for what you've done. Not necessarily just for what you've done to the people, which is a heavy burden, a heavy debt, but also to the land, to the air, to the water. This was they had no right to pollute, to trash, to destroy, to burn, to poison, to blow up, to dig. They had no right to do that to the earth. The earth is a living entity, and they've done these things without care. So the justice that's going to be meted out to them has to be a terrible one. And that doesn't mean, because a lot of people, well, everybody is going to get, the Creator wants to love his people, and these are things that just a few are going to. No, look, the deal is that justice finds the unjust. Justice finds the unjust. Now watch this real quick. Job 12:22. He reveals the deep things of darkness and brings utter darkness into the light. Justice finds the unjust. And this is what they don't talk about. They don't talk about justice. They don't want to talk about justice because that would mean that they will have to give justice. And they don't want to give justice. They just want to use dirty fingernails and talk about out of context of all, or not even entertain, do a Perry Stone and not even touch a whole chapter. Prophecy. I can't even, man.
That is a prophecy scripture. How do you do it?
I can't even. How do you do that, bro? How do you proclaim to be spiritual and dismiss all of prophecy, all of spiritual prophecy? This is why you know that their time is up, because they just don't get it,
Yeah, like I said before, if Perry Stone won't break down Deuteronomy 28, all these Constantine Christians from the peanut gallery, they just need to be quiet.
Yeah.
They just really need to be quiet. Because they can't, basically ran from those scriptures. Mm-hmm. But when we try to put them down, that already occurred, but they won't give proof. They won't give historical proof. That's not talking about you. Well, prove that it's not talking about us. Because if you look at it, it's a litany of specified curses that a certain group would go through for breaking the covenant. And honestly, even if I was an Israelite, let's say if I was a Moabite, and if I was sincere, I would read that and say, African Americans, black people, if you're sincere. But when they see that, they know judgment comes with that.
Yes.
And justice comes. But in the Christian church, there is no justice.
No.
Jesus don't forgive. I can do whatever I want. I can eat pork, I can pray over it. Then they'll take scriptures out of context. Mm-hmm. With Christianity, there's no accountability at all.
None.
That's why they went around raping, pillaging, murdering, and committing all types of crimes against humanity under the banner of white Jesus. My sins are forgiven. That's not biblical.
Yeah. And under, you said under the guise of white Jesus and mammon. and the money. It was all about the money. Like white Jesus is the money. That's what that's what they have done through their replacement theology. Because once you replace the people, you certainly have to replace the people's God. You can't replace the people and worship the God of the people, because then you will convict yourself. You will be convicted internally by that God. Now they go, well, we got white Jesus and this money. Because white Jesus said, go out and get all the money you can. It's okay to kill these people for their land. It's okay to get that gold and that silver. You know, that's what white Jesus was saying. And they did it happily, because they were like, oh, well, by the time judgment comes, because mind you, they didn't even believe in the spirituality, in the hereafter. They didn't believe in judgment. So it was easy for them to say, well, by the time, I'm going to get this now, I'm going to get mine before they get theirs. And by the time it's all said and done, I'm going to be long gone. See what I'm saying? Like, they didn't care. And now their descendants are looking around with that look on their face saying, well, I mean, we're the people. You guys are him, and we're the people. And we're going, but wait, that's not biblical. That's not biblical. That's not historical. That's not scientific. And they're like, what? Block. He said just straight up, block.
Yeah. He ran. Your dirty fingernails ran. He ran. I tried to tell him, I said, bruh, you are not ready for our level of study. But I don't know what I'm talking about. I tried to tell him. I tried to break down, I think it was the book of Jeremiah. I gave him the correct understanding. He didn't want to listen. I said, okay, that's fine, because it was obvious that he didn't know about the fourth part, which a lot of people don't, because a lot of people don't speak on it.
Right.
But when he came over with that ham nonsense and got cut to shreds by our brother Judah, I'm blocking you, I'm blocking you, I'm blocking you, I'm taking videos down. But that pride, his pride destroyed him.
Yeah, it sure did.
So their pride will be their downfall. They're going to be brought so low, they will have no choice but to admit the truth. And that's what it's going to take. They're going to be, they need to be mired in the rock bottom, in the mud, to finally admit it was always you. But as long as they can get up in the morning, jump in their cars, have their coffee, go through there, have some type of normalcy, even though it's fading away in real time, they won't admit it. This place needs to collapse.
Yep.
And we've seen what happened in ancient Rome. It fell. Rome was in shambles.
Yep.
We don't like to talk about that.
Well, I mean, look at our people.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, we had to go to we went to the lowest to be able to accept the truth of what we did, And so cause and effect, causality. What you're saying is 100% true and very well on point, because things have to be in balance. Like, they're so far out of balance now that they got brothers and sisters out here talking about the Bible as if it is the infallible word of the Creator, when clearly it's a transliteration. It's clearly a transliteration of the Father's language. It's a bastardization of it. That's why I'll be laughing when brothers want to talk about, I believe that the white man's a lie. He lies about everything. But then they want to get to this book and they want to act like, well, it says this, so it's got to be. And I'm like, but wait, you're not even dealing in the spirit. Exactly. Although they may think that they are, they're not dealing in the spirit, because the bottom line is that these people have lied. So why would they, if they are liars from the beginning, like their father, why would they tell the truth in their Bible? That's the whole codex of the Bible. You have to have the Spirit to unlock the codex of the Bible to put it into perspective. But nobody really talks. They don't deal with that. They're either all or nothing, and it's like, well, you let that be your folly, you know.
Exactly. Yeah, the people they really get me with that too. They really treat the Bible like it fell out the sky.
Mm-hmm.
After numerous transliterations and translations and changes, you know things were lost in translation because some words don't even translate over into other languages.
Right.
They had to put in filler words, and one word in any text will change the entire context.
Yeah.
Will basically distort the entire meaning.
Yeah. So check this out. There are currently over 3,142 versions in over 2,073 languages available digitally on Bible.com, of which 1,768 are available audibly. There are also versions in nearly 2,033 languages. So how many versions of the Bible exist? Approximately 900 different English Bibles. 900. Isn't that destruction? Right? Number 9. So, say again?
9 is you're absolutely correct. 9 does mean destruction.
That's right. So we're talking 900 different English Bibles, so 900 destructions of our word, automatic, of the word, automatic. Then it gets into the over 3,100. So these people want us to believe that a book that they have transliterated over 900 times is the truth, is all the truth. That is such a ridiculous asininity, cognitive, ridiculous thought that people need to really be checked. That's why we're saying, hey, we want justice, because that doesn't even make sense. Because if it was the infallible word of God, then who gave you the authority in the first place to translate it? We would all be reading it and understanding it from the original. That's all we know. That's why when we read these books, we have to do precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little, there a little. We have to understand it in the totality, not just from what they say. That's the whole thing today. Everybody wants to tell us, again, how we started this full circle, everybody wants to tell us what we need to know, tell us who we are, tell us what we need to think. Now, here's the question. Why does it matter? Why does it? Because this is a question that their Bible goes into, but it doesn't really answer. Why would they care about who we worship and how we do it, and how we think about it? Now, the way that they do put it in their Bible is the story of Moses and Pharaoh. Because Moses said, hey, let my people go so that they may worship their Elohim. Pharaoh said no. Why would Pharaoh say no? And so their Bible alludes to the fact that they were slaves. They were slaves. He needed slaves. Well, okay, so you need slaves that bad that you would not let a people go to worship their Elohim. So the question is, why do they care about who we worship? Now, we know the answer, okay? Those of us that are in the know, we know the answer. Yet, at the same time, that question has to be posed to them, because these people online, TikToks, and we're saying, but why do you care who we are? Why are you on our channel? Why are you over here? You guys don't want us over there. Brother Malcolm said the most segregated time in the world, but in the U.S. is Sunday mornings. So why are you telling us, coming over to us today now, right this moment, telling us that we don't know who we are? Why does it matter to you? You let the alternative people be whoever the hell they want to be. You know, the people who say, well, you know what, I'm a dog. I believe myself to be. What's the word? Oh goodness. I believe myself to be a dog, so I'm a dog. Or, I'm this, I'm that. But you're not. You are who you are. So we're not saying who we believe ourselves to be. We're saying who we are, who we know ourselves to be. It's this wordplay of these people got them twisted right now. But we're on it. We're on the wordplay. We're on the game.
Definitely. Yeah, there's really nothing they can do. Eventually, these people will just have to fall in line. Mm-hmm. They have to fall in line because people think that this is of us, like this is a movement. Oh, they don't know who they are. They're latching on to someone's identity. No, we're waking up to who we are, and that's why we're scared. Because once again, I'll say it again. Once we wake up, where the Most High wakes up who He wants to wake up, they know the wrath is coming.
They know, bro. They know what's coming next. You're right.
And the mind, these people, they've inherited lies too. Oh, I just need to call on Jesus and my sins are forgiven. That's not biblical.
No.
I was talking to a few months ago, and a good family member of mine, and I was sharing scripture with her, and you know what she asked me? She asked me, what Bible are you reading from? I said, the same Bible. I said, the same Bible you're reading from.
Right.
But I'm not reading it like a Christian. I'm reading it as an Israelite, so I'm eating a roll. I'm going everywhere. I'm not going to where my pastor is telling me to go.
Right.
So we read here, we read here, we read here. We don't read there, we don't read there, and we don't read there.
Right.
These people reading the Bible, and they really don't like what it says now. I'm an example. That's why we have those people burning their Bibles. Mainly white people burning their Bibles.
Right. That's right.
If you're honest and you understand prophecy and you're sincere in heart, you know what's coming, and you know who the true people of the book are.
Yes.
It's to the point where now even Jewish rabbis are saying that we're the true Israelites.
Yeah. Everybody's going to bend the knee, you know?
Time. Everybody will bend the knee.
Everybody. And that's the beauty of karma. Let's just take away spirituality, the creator, all of that. Let's just take it away. The end of the day, there is karma. And why do we know it's karma? Because we can go out here today and see, if we go to our neighbor's house and kick open the door, what's the karma on that? We're going to jail. You see what I'm saying? So that's karma. And they know what karma is, but they don't want to entertain karma because they think that karma is for someone else. But when we go, now we bring in, let's bring back the Spirit, let's bring back the Father. Now we say reaping and sowing, and now they're scared. See, karma got them like, they're desensitized to karma because karma doesn't happen to them. Remember, that goes back to the accountability, right? Karma has not affected them like it has affected us. But, or I shouldn't say but, yet reaping and sowing will affect them rather than affect us. Does that make sense? See that? You see how this is a big it's a big circle within a circle within a circle, meaning everything, it's just turning, it's spinning, it's going. Everything is moving on itself, into itself, coming back into the source, whether they like it or not. Now they've been estranged from the source because we were estranged from the source. So now that we're getting back to the source, now they have to come back to the source, and they're coming back kicking and screaming. And this is the whole world. This ain't got nothing to do with just one group of the world. This is the entire world. The beasts of the field too, because they weren't set up to be eating each other. You see what I'm saying? Like everything is coming back into order now. Everything. That's why you got the sharks going. That's why the sharks are losing their mind, going, I got to kill something now because the time is short. You see what I'm saying? So I saw where this dude, sharks are leaving the ocean, coming up like the channels, going into the lakes. And it's like, yeah, it's crazy. That means, and that tells you, that goes back, the hunters. So the hunters don't necessarily have to be humans, the hunters. Who's been hunting? Who are the hunters? The sharks. Sharks hunt. You know what I'm saying? Sharks hunt. And I'll tell you something else, that karma or reaping and sowing is going to come to them for. The buffalo. The buffalo.
Oh, definitely.
And that's funny how these pretendians always want to talk about we ain't something, but they don't talk about their buffalo. And the buffalo the buffalo were mentally connected to the people. That's what it was about.
In the land.
In the land, right. The land, the buffalo, and the people, connection. And the man came in, destroyed the buffalo, destroyed the land, destroyed the people. And these people, these pretendians are sitting on these reservations looking like they are Mongoloid, Siberians, want to sit here and act like they're the people, but they don't ever say nothing about the buffalo. That in and of itself would make me upset enough to say, hey, we want justice. I want justice for the buffalo, who are my kin. I want justice for the land, who is my kin. And I want justice for my people, who are my kin. But you don't ever hear them saying that. You don't ever hear them talking about justice. Nobody talks about justice but us. Just us. It's crazy. It's aggravating.
Your comment makes sense. It makes very good sense about the buffalo, especially if you're a people who believe in spirit animals.
Right.
I would want justice for the animals too. I would want justice for everything that you've destroyed. But It appears that we're really the only people that want justice.
That's right.
An occasional test here or there, that's not justice. Mm-hmm. Justice needs to be equal. It really needs to be equal. You don't put someone in. You don't give someone 25 years for jaywalking. But if you take a life, hey, you know the punishment.
Right. That's why it's strange. Yeah, it's strange how the Indian, the ones that proclaim themselves to be Indian today, they don't talk about the land that was stolen from them. That because at the end of the day, this was all their land, so to speak. Right? The whole country, the whole continent. They don't talk about it. They don't talk about the buffalo that they destroyed. They don't talk about the gold that they stole. They don't talk about nothing of what the European came in and took from them. All they're talking about is you ain't Negro. You ain't. And it's like, but what about the history? They don't talk about the treaties that were broke. You see what I'm saying?
Everyone.
That's what I'm saying. Every treaty that their people made with, supposedly their people, made with the white man broke. They don't talk about that. They don't talk about the distrust or the mistrust that they should have for the white man. None of them. They just are so busy hell-bent on owning and protecting the land, the little bit of land that the man gave them. That's what their concern is. So I'm going, well, wait a second. If someone gave my people smallpox, this is the story, it's the narrative, so I'm just saying the narrative. If somebody gave my people smallpox and poisoned my land and put me on the trail of tears, and many of my people were destroyed, and I got pushed into the desert of Oklahoma, that would not sit well with me. That would not sit well with my generations. That would be something that I would inform my generations all the way down to remember. You see what I'm saying? But they don't care about that. They don't care about none of that. None of it.
The difference between them and us, we still fight for our ancestors.
Right.
I may not have known my great-great-great-grandfather, but do trust, I'm fighting for him. I'm fighting for his name, his legacy, his spirit, what he endured. We're not letting that go.
No.
We basically have a vendetta, all the other nations. Me personally, and I'm speaking for myself, I'm not letting it go.
No.
I'm not letting it go. I need justice for my people.
Right.
And not just my family, my people, my nation.
Right.
But one that you stripped of everything.
Right.
And then have the nerve to make fun of us because you stripped it from us. That's
correct.
Only a devil would do like that. You have to be a psychopath to do something like that. That is a sick-minded individual.
Yeah.
Yeah, a degenerate. Like the scriptures say, a reprobate. The basis of men.
Yeah. Yeah.
The basis, the lowest.
Because their logic is, oh, well, you guys don't even speak the language. Do you not know history? See, this is why, they're the gatekeepers of our land, like the silly what are they called? I was going to say holistic, but what is it? The Maccabean brothers? What were they called? The Hellenistic Negroes, right? The Hellenistic Negroes are the ones that are keeping our money away from us, and these pretendian Siberians are the ones that's keeping our land away from us. And then the man keeps everything else away from us. So, we're like, at this stage, how can we trust any of you? And then they go, well, you got this book, but there was a slave Bible. So, you transliterated and then took stuff out. I thought you weren't supposed to take nothing out or add nothing to. So they've done everything that they have said not to do. You see what I'm saying?
I'm like, are y'all even reading the Bible? It's like y'all violated everything in there. It's like you might as well just, everything. How do you violate everything in a book you claim you wrote? You violate everything and prop yourself up as the moral authority, but in that same book you claim you wrote, which we know you didn't, you violate everything in there. I'll give you a prime example. Now, I could be wrong. The law against bestiality, when you read the scriptures, the 80 books, I could not find one account of an Israelite doing that ever.
No.
But it's a law. There's not one account. That law was put in the Bible, don't be like them.
Right.
Because that's what they, and like I said, we look at prophecy and we look at history. And when we look at today, I don't have to mention any names. We know who has a stern history of doing that. In some countries, it's legal. We don't do that. It is an Israelite law.
That is a filthy, degenerate addiction, and that addiction to mess with the animals has always been the Neanderthal. The Neanderthal has always done that. And these are the descendants of the Neanderthal to some degree. So, I mean, it's just, it's these folks don't understand what we want. Or maybe they do and they can't accept it. But soon they're going to accept it all because it's not going to be up for discussion. Justice will be had. The cries are getting too loud. They can't stop us on social media, so they hinder our numbers. But they can't stop the word. They can't stop the cries. And they think for a minute that we're just going to lay down and die just because they say we aren't who we say we are. And, you know, our brethren and sisters who are still talking about Africa, we were all over the earth.
Exactly.
We were in Africa. We were in Europe. We were in Asia, because that's Europe, if you really want to get down to it. We were in the Americas, North and South and Central, and Australia and the islands of the sea. We were everywhere. And we are everywhere. So if people want to, a gazillion years ago, many of our African brothers decided to go all around. Listen, Israel was everywhere on all the lands. This is not taking anything away from Africa, but Africa is just part of our land. It's not all of our land.
Exactly.
I mean, golly, this is not hard for the cognitive thinker, and this idea that the European had some capability to navigate waters and do a red line, a direct red line from Africa to America, that's a white man's ideology. That's a white man's ideology. Because by no stretch of the imagination could they do that in the 1500s. What they were too busy doing was repainting, rewording. And here's the other catch that people fail to realize. This is the other catch. They had our records, our scriptures, our scrolls since 70 A.D. over there in what they call the three parts. What they want to say is Israel, the only land there is, okay? But it took them coming to the Americas for 113 years, let's just say 103 years, coming to the Americas. Now, this is before slavery. Coming to the Americas to write their book. To write their book. Now, granted, the Geneva Bible was 1590, but that's still close to 100 years. So they had to come to the Americas in the 1400s, 1500s to write their Bible that they call their Bible in the 1600s or the late 1500s. Why didn't they do that before? And before I say that, then they had their Renaissance. And then 1700, the late 1600s, 1700s, they're having a Renaissance, repainting pictures, changing words in scriptures, inquisitioning people, and somehow amongst all of that they got going on, they are set out slave trading from Africa to the Americas. I mean, where do they have time? How did they do this? Why isn't anything written about them coming from doing this thing? Why is it they got manifest, there's stuff written, they have journals. Oh God! So now we're supposed to believe these people's word. I just said that they were whitewashing, they were rewriting, they were changing everything, but somehow we're supposed to believe what they say in their journals. Well, why would they lie? You tell me why they would lie. Why wouldn't they lie? Why would they? The question isn't why would they lie. The question is, why would they tell the truth? You know, that's the question. Why would they tell the truth?
Exactly, because it would be more feasible, like we talked about before, just a land hop. Because
Right.
I told you when I was looking just into, I was thinking about getting a sports pilot license, so I got online just to research. I said, well, what if I was in a commuter if I wanted to fly to Europe? And the first thing it said that you don't fly directly across. Now, we can both agree that a Cessna will beat a so-called quote-unquote slave ship from the, let's say, 1500s.
Yep.
They say what you do is you go to Canada, then you go to the little islands, you go to Nova Scotia, Greenland, Iceland, and you wrap around to Europe. Right. You don't fly directly across. So I actually believe, I think we're on the same page with that. I don't believe they were coming directly across because that route would have been too treacherous and too hard.
And think of this. Amelia Earhart was the first woman to fly direct, and she got lost. And they didn't do that. They didn't do that trip like talking about. It goes to your point. They had to go. They found land. They hugged the coast, and they stayed with the land. Why in the hell would they take their chances straight through the Atlantic Ocean? I mean, that is the Ish people would not even insure that boat doing that. And that's why it's like, come on, guys. I mean, come on, really? We have to be smarter than them, and we have to look at it from using our spiritual eyes. There is no way that they would have done that. And they go, well, you know, it could be done. It could have been. There's no way that these people who just learned how to navigate the seas would have said, let me just go straight through it. I mean, they were scared to. It's a moot point, but that's what I keep saying. Like, you know, this justice for the lies that they were doing or that they're saying that still festered all the way down to today has to be paid for. Like, we're not asking for 30 pieces of silver. No, we want all of it. And that's really what got them. That's really what got them all messed up right now. You know that, because we're not asking for anything that they can come to us and say, "Well, look, okay, we'll give you this, we'll give you that." No, we don't want that. Well, what do you want? We want it all. See, this is what their problem is. That's why they go. Well, that's why it's funny now. After 2019, now they talking about, well, we're you, we're Israel. Because listen. I have never heard a white person say we are Israel, because they have Israel is the Israelis over there. So they've never said that. They've never said that.
I've seen Christian pastors sermons on it. I was like, when did y'all start doing that? Oh, since we woke up. Before, it was all about Christianity and white Jesus. But since that's not working anymore, we want to be Israel. What are Israel? No, it doesn't work that way. Israel is a sea line. Right. You can't just force your way into a bloodline. It doesn't work that way.
That's what they do. They impose their will onto everyone. Now all of a sudden that we done woke up and they realize there is no, and this is the catch. this is the bottom line. They have now realized that there is no rapture coming for them. So they have to figure out another way of making their people feel good about themselves. And they're saying, hey, you know what? The only way we can make them feel good about themselves is they realize if we tell them they're Israel. Now, how can we do that? Well, we just start saying that, the 12 tribes went into Europe. When here's a catch. So, first of all, that's the Southern Kingdom, as we know. And the Southern Kingdom, and Yahweh Shai said, hey, when you see Rome come by way of Jerusalem, flee into the wilderness. Now that wilderness would the Judeans flee north into Europe, where Rome is coming from, or would they flee east into Turkey and Saudi Arabia with Ishmael, who also was coming at them, or would they flee into Africa and into South America? You see what I'm saying? Like they are so dumb that they think that we are ignorant, and that's why it's like you got these people have lost the plot. Listen, we're not dumb. We know that Israel would never flee into Europe, where Rome was, who wanted to destroy them. White people, come on, you're not. This isn't rocket science. That's why Dirty Finger Man was sitting over there talking crazy, and he was confounded. And that little old lady who he had on his page, cheerleading, she was confounding too. Ham, and then they got all the emojis. They want to like this a joke. It's not a joke. It'll be the joke's on you. But this is not a joke,
Exactly. Because we have accounts of our people fleeing all the way to China.
Right.
So I have an account. It's in one of my books. I'll share it with you later. Where there was an Ephraimite. He was in China. We had our people in India, the Jews of Kerala, India. Another brother told me that he had proof of our people being in the Philippines.
Yeah.
We were scattered through the four corners, and we mingled in with the other nations. And that's what people fail to realize. We all just didn't go to Africa.
Right. We rolled out. We fled into the last ones of us got caught up, got hemmed up. But many of us were already out. And the Northern Kingdom was already gone before that. So, people don't understand the story and the timeline, the historical timeline of things, because they get caught up in Christianity. They think Paul is a disciple. Paul ain't no disciple. Paul came last. That's why the Gentiles love Paul, because he came last, just like them. They came last, he came last.
I did find a scripture where Paul was called the disciple, but once again, they translated everything. That's their transliteration. I need to see the original text. And why would Hebrews? I think it's odd that there's no authentic Hebrew New Testament. I think that's really, really odd.
Well, the New Testament was. You there?
You have Israelite men who wrote in Greek.
Right.
That's like me giving you a book, and the first half is in Chinese, the second half is in Spanish.
Right.
This doesn't sit right with me.
No.
Read the Hebrew New Testament, and not a current translation from Greek to Hebrew. Read the original Hebrew text. It's not one. Not one.
And all the writers of the New Testament that are Israelites didn't know how to write in Hebrew? Is that what you're trying to tell me? They just chose to write in Greek? See, this is why we are not to be fooled. We know that these people are liars. So when we read the Bible, the basic instructions before leaving earth, we do so through the Spirit. Now, the Apocrypha we can read as well, but we read through the Spirit. All these books we read through the Spirit. That's the difference between us and them. Why? Because we have to read it through the Spirit, because they changed everything. They took our language out. So when we're reading it and understanding it from a Hebrew perspective in the English tongue. Exactly. And that's very, very difficult. But through the Spirit makes it real simple. Makes it really simple. And that's why they're talking, Israel went to the north, so they're in Europe. What? Nigga, you go clean your hands. You know what I'm saying? Get your filthy hands out the book. You know? It's like, come on. It's ridiculous. Like their whole logic, the world's logic is so low now. And all praises to the Most High. All praises, because he has allowed wisdom to come back to us, to comfort us, and give us the spirit of truth. Because we too read these things multiple times prior to our awakening and was blind and could not understand. But when the wisdom, when the spirit of truth through wisdom came upon us, that dove gave us understanding to be able to read between the lines. And it's like we didn't have no punctuation in our writing. It was just one long run-on sentence, because that's how you talk. You know, you're writing as you talk. But they came in. Now we got to change it. We got to put a comma here. We got to break this up here. We need a conjunction there. That was their language.
Exactly.
That's so that they can explain it. Say that again? Exactly.
It told us that a run-on sentence was bad grammar.
Right. Exactly. Oh, you got it. You get an F. You get an F.
And you have to read from left to right and not right to left.
Right.
Like I tell people all the time, we're Eastern people living in Western society.
Right.
This is a punishment. We're not meant to be here. We are Eastern people.
Right.
We are not Western people. That's why they complain about us. Well, you just won't assimilate. You just won't. You don't want to fit in. No, we don't. We don't.
No.
We're here as a punishment. We're here due to circumstances. No, and more of us are feeling that, no, we don't want to be a part of your two-tier system. We don't want to be a part of anything that you have going on. Because every time we try and we make an effort to be quote-unquote American, we just get let down.
Right.
So all the Negroes that still want to be American, when this place falls, you can fall with her.
Right. And just put that on within every nation. All the Negroes that want to be Canadian, all the Negroes that want to be English, British, all the Negroes want to be German, Dutch. You just fall with them. You know, it's like I'm watching the Euros, which is a soccer tournament, and I'm watching England play the Netherlands, which is the Dutch, and I always look at how many dark-skinned brothers there are. Okay, so England's got a few, France has the most, Germany has a couple, and Belgium now has one. Well, they've had a couple, but the point was, I'm sorry, not Belgium. And Belgium definitely has a bunch, but the Netherlands also now has a bunch. And it's like, okay, so now everybody wants us representing their nation. You see that? Everybody wants us representing their nation. Because soccer, football is a sport that is very highly racist. Very highly racist. It is to get on that national team, to represent your nation. You have to be part of it, or the greatest. You know, you got to be in that system. And a lot of these European nation teams never had us on their teams in the 90s, in the 80s, in the 70s, 60s, 50s, 40s, you know. And that was all due to their racism. And now they're letting us get on there, letting people see that they have Negroes in their nation. And that's by this. It's not by design. It's not coincidence. It's because now we are standing up, and we're being. Everybody wants to showcase their Israelite. Does that make sense? We got one.
Yeah.
We got two. We got three. You know what I'm saying? And France is just wild with it. France, like, we got a whole team of them. And when I'm saying Israelites, because when you look at some of these players, you can see, oh, that brother looks like Tony down the street, like Anthony. You know what I'm saying? That's a Negro. You know, but when you get into Africa, Senegalese, you can see some of us in there, but a lot of them are Hamites. But, you know, white people, oh, well, they all black. They look all black. They're all, you know. But we can tell. So, this series, our awakening is really hurting them.
It is. This awakening is really, it's crushing their spirits. It's really crushing their spirits. It is, because everything that we're bringing out, basically, we debunk that. No. Them days are that you need to give proof. You need to give proof, because we have proof. Because I can't even count how many times someone has come on a comment board and said and made a false claim, and just through the spirit, finding information that I've never seen before. And I'm not talking about a first page, second page Google search. I'm talking about within 30 minutes, digging up a book from the 1600s with the exact quote. Oh, no, that proves you wrong. That's through the spirit. That's why they're scared. Because the Holy Spirit is bringing all things into remembrance. That includes our stolen history.
Yep. I mean, and look, and I'm looking at my little map here, and if you look at the map, if you look at where Ghana is, and you go a straight line across from Ghana, you're hitting Venezuela. You're right there in Guyana, Suriname. You're in South America. So, I mean, you know, all this stuff that they're talking about, all the things that they're trying to make it seem like we don't know what we're talking about, it's in their face. We're utilizing their English words. We're utilizing their maps. We're utilizing their history to go against them. And they're going, none of that's true. None of that's true. Not understanding that inadvertently them saying that is proving our point. That we need justice, we want it. It's not going away.
Yeah, because I told someone when I was pulling my receipts, I said, so the scholarship of the white man doesn't matter anymore? Mm-hmm. I mean, these are all white that we're pulling. We're not making these up. These are your own people that wrote this down in their history books. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But they never figured that we would get our hands on them.
And so we let me say something to that, because we earlier said that they're liars, right? And that they're scripturally they transliterated, but their history books is where they told the truth. Because why? Mm-hmm. Because at that time period we weren't able to read. So these journals that they're saying, so let's finish this up. So when they're going, well, the journal, the guy says in the journal, The difference is that a journal that's talking about slavery is not necessarily 100% true because of the institution it was talking about. Now, when we talk about history where they're saying, we came over here and we got this gold and we did this, we got this land, and, that, now the details in that may be exaggerated, but that all in all is true. Because, again, we've never heard them say they took and I would be pressed for anyone to send me something that says that they went from Ghana straight to the Bermuda, which is right outside, like straight to the North Americas. They never done that. They never say that. And if they do, I like to see it and read it for my own understanding, not for anyone else's context, because that's not what we've read. That's not what I've read anywhere, that's what they've done. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've not read that. Have you read that where they've said that they've gone from one continent straight to the other?
No, and not at all. And like I was saying, what we was talking about a few weeks ago, people don't understand the psychological effect of not seeing land.
Right.
We are land-based creatures. Now, this is from someone who was in the Navy. I've been on boats of people of all races. Once you're out there for roughly 3 weeks and you can't see a speck of land, it affects your psyche. I've seen people grumpy, upset. I just want to see land. I want to go home. I just want to see land. So to do that for allegedly 6 weeks to 3 months without seeing a stitch of land, there would be mutiny on those boats. It would be utter madness. Right. And just to prove the flip side, I remember we did a tour from Florida up the coast into like the Great Lakes, the Nova Scotia, Canada area. Brother, it was like a pleasure cruise. You know why? Because we got to see land. We did that cruise for 90 days. It was nothing because we got to see land. It didn't take 90 days, but we kept porting and stopping. 3 days here, a week here, 2 here. But on our psyche, it really didn't destroy us because we were able to see land.
Right.
But if you think that you can do Africa to the Americas without seeing land, with
North
the numbers
America.
of people, North America, to be exact, thank you, North America, and go back and forth without seeing land, no, it would drive you mad.
It would.
That's impossible. It would drive you mad.
Yep. It's crazy. It's crazy to believe that people believe that that's how it worked, and not even to understand that, first and foremost, the Atlantic Ocean is treacherous. Treacherous. I mean, you look at those boats that are out in the Atlantic today, and you look at those waves, those massive waves that are in these massive boats or massive ships, that these massive waves are crashing the starboard, the front of it. And then imagine these little ass boats that they had back then, not even close to the size of the boats today, what those waves would have done to. Like,
and I've
they
been
would
in
never.
rough waves.
Huh?
I can speak from experience. I've been in rough waves on a Navy vessel. It's something. We had a flat bottom, and do trust, we had top of the line equipment. We had a good quality ship, and those waves was fierce, steel. So you want me to believe that y'all did the same thing in rickety wooden boats?
Right.
It doesn't add up.
filled to the brim with libations, nourishment, and people? No way.
Exactly.
No way. No way. And my logic on that is, they said that, again, at this same time that they've been doing this, they were whitewashing, they were changing narratives, they were trying to figure out a way to create themselves to be supreme, right? So they were like, well, if we just say that we went from Africa to the Americas and we brought over 12.5 million, then everyone would think that we are the supreme. We are gods. And that's what they did. They wrote it like that. They didn't do it. They wrote it. And, maybe this logic doesn't hit hard or rather it doesn't hit home for a lot of people. Maybe they still believe in the white man's narrative of how they brought us from one place to another. And then some people say, well, how did they do that then? Well, well, they went from Ghana, which if you look at Ghana on the map, Ghana to following the equator, Ghana over to South America, around up the coast, or rather south down to Argentina, up around to Peru, then up the south side, and then some of the trips went north and went into the Caribbean, and, into Florida. But they never went straight out into the middle of the ocean. Insanity. They were not capable of doing such, nor bringing that many people over. Like, this is just not hard for those that have spiritual eyes. It's just not difficult. So I this was just a chop up session, brother, because I just wanted to. We'll definitely do it again, and we'll get into more scripts. But this is just bringing common sense to the air, because we have to realize, our people have to realize that the greatest mind, the greatest oppressor is the minds of the oppressed. So it's easier for someone to lie to you and oppress you than it is for them to fight you, to kill you. It's easier to just say, hey, this is the narrative, under the threat of destruction, rather than destroy you. Because why would they destroy you when they needed you to work? You see what I'm saying? And it goes back to the Trail of Tears. Why would they, if these people who call themselves brown Indians, which is funny as hell because they look white, why would they leave one part and go to another? And when were they enslaved? Because that's what happened to all brown people in America. It's so crazy to me. But, these, maybe soon they'll feel that slavery that they all say that they've been under. You see what I'm saying? Soon they'll feel it. What's the verse? Those who take into captivity go into captivity, right?
He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Yeah, a lot of them people in captivity also. But
right.
They skipped that part of the narrative. They skipped that part.
Yeah, and so did Stone. Stone ain't even touched that. Stone ain't even touched it.
He know better.
Right.
He knows what to touch and what not to touch. He knows.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. So if they're not touching proper prophecy in Scripture, yet they want to make it seem like that the narrative that we're debunking of theirs isn't true, how can we believe them? And why would we? And our brothers and sisters who believe in this Africa thing, take a look at it. Think about it. Really just sit back and look at a map. Take a ruler and go from place to place. Tell me how that, and what did you say? How long was it? How long did they say? They said 4 to 6 weeks. So a month and a month and a half.
Between 6 weeks and 90 days to make that trip, depending on the wind and the currents, the load, the capacity. But 6 weeks, across that ocean, I'm not buying that.
Yeah, I mean, how do you do that with the wind with the sailboat? Like, come on. You know, there's no oars. They didn't. This wasn't the Greeks. That was all done in the Mediterranean when they had oar boats, so to speak. Could have also been done over there in the Gulf of Mexico. You know, but at the same time, they had sailboats, and if the wind was not with them, how would it take? How can they say, oh yeah, it took 60 to 90 days? It was simple. I beg to differ. Then what about the pirates? What about their rogue maverick white folks that were looking to destroy? Like, to me, they were running liquor. That's what they were doing. Liquor and sugar. They weren't running no people. They might have had like 5 or 6, maybe 20 slaves at the most, so to speak, whatever the slaves mean. 20 Negroes on the boat. 20 Judeans, maybe. Tops. But it wasn't no cargo hold full. Where were they sleeping? Where were the other people sleeping? You know, I remember looking at Amistad, and I'm like, okay, so everybody, all the brothers and sisters were at the bottom of the boat. The captain had his little chambers on the top of the boat. Where's the rest of the crew sleeping? They just sleeping in the elements? That don't even make sense. Like, none of that stuff makes sense. It is what it is. I already know the way they did it. They went around the coast, as you said, just so that they could keep their sanity. And then it came a point where the pirates were around the coast, that they had to keep an eye out for the pirates, and which meant that they had to carry ammunition, right? They had to carry cannons. So if that was all the case, where they keeping all these people? It don't make sense. It don't make sense.
And like I said, I was in the Navy, and I've been in the belly of a boat. You need space. I think our boat had maybe like 500 people on it, and the interior of a boat is gutted out. You have berths, that's your bed space. You have where your engine room is. You have there's offices. It's everywhere. So just to think that all those people were down there, chained up, where was the crew?
Right.
And there's no way, and it's not like, let's say if that did happen, in those type conditions, the smell would have been horrific.
Right.
There's no way you can be locked up with something like that for 90 days. That doesn't make sense.
And the way they get around that, they go, well, you guys were great people. We were great. Yeah, we're great people, and you couldn't do that to us. We weren't going to just go in chains into a boat that we ain't never seen to go on the sea. There would have been mutinous riotousness going on. That's why
exactly.
it's like that's why it's like, hey, we want justice for all the lies, all the killing, all the destroying, all the stealing, all the raping. Because once we get justice for it, then everybody will be able to see, well, yeah, that didn't make sense. That no, they couldn't really have done that. That doesn't make sense. You know? So, I mean, I don't...
Well, I said, we will get justice, my brother.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I know the Bible says that vengeance is the Lord's, but people have to remember, the Lord's not coming off his throne to enact that vengeance. It's going to be at the hands of Judah and the rest of Israel.
Right.
And that's the part people get.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why they're fearing exactly what they're fearing, bro. You know?
Yeah. Justice is coming. And they're blessing the sword, their blessing won't save them either.
No, that's not doing nothing for them. That's going to be taken from them. You know, that's already taken from them.
It sure is.
All right, brother. Hey, we're a little over, so I want to bring it to an end. You get the last word, brother. You get the last word, though. So whatever you want to speak on. You got like 5 minutes, so you speak on it, and then we're gonna wrap it up so that we can keep under the time.
It definitely will. First, I'm not going to take the entire 5 minutes, but first off, I want to give praises to the Most High, you know what I mean, for
praises.
Allowing us to in these times and turning his face back to his people, and through the Holy Spirit bringing all things back to remembrance. And it's just a beautiful thing just to know that he hasn't forsaken his people. It's just a beautiful thing to see that he has not forsaken his people. So we're going to stay on this path, and we're going to go where he guides us, and his will is his will. And I'm just going to keep it, and I'm going to end it right there, my brother.
All praises, brother. Hey, and I appreciate you. We're going to do this again. We're going to get to more people, and we're just going to chop it up. And we're going to try to get this thing hopping because it's time for us all to come together, you know, to regather, the regathering. And this is one of the ways we're going to regather, you know. I appreciate you, man. I do. I thank you for coming on. Thank you to the nation for listening. You know, we're gonna shout it out. All praises to our Elohim, the Elohim of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And brother, you be at peace, and we'll talk soon. Shalom.
Shalom, fam. Shalom.
I'm Victoria Cash. Thanks for calling the Lucky Land Hotline. If you feel like you do the same thing every day, press 1. If you're ready to have some serious fun for the chance to redeem some serious prizes, press 2. We heard you loud and clear. So go to LuckyLandSlots.com right now and play over 100 social casino-style games for free. Get lucky today at LuckyLandSlots.com.
Available to players in the U.S., excluding Washington and Michigan. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply.